G'day, and with Inforunners, I'm Execute, joined today by Jon Citizen and Pissball Pete. How you boys doing today?
Pretty good, pal.
I'm
Pretty
doing
good.
all right.
Both smoking, I've noticed. I feel very healthy with you two gentlemen around. Oh, you got rid of the smoke. Yeah, he was doing it before the show. Don't worry, he's doing it. He's rolling another one. But yeah, so we were talking about Orbital Assault, so I thought we'd get in and record it and kind of give us a bit of a feedback on the event. Like I didn't drag him kick and scream, but I dragged Jon Citizen along with me and Void Dude. I'm gonna hear flack for that one. But yeah, we did it a couple of times with Void Dude, didn't we, John? And you're not a big P versus P, but you really enjoyed the mining stuff and interacting with the P versus Ps in that way. And then Pete's going to talk about what he wants to talk about what do you want to say about Pete in short, like just a summary?
I think it's a good event for those people that do it, but it's one of those events that's not for me. You know, it's just a bit of a shame.
Yeah, and I'm what my hope is this is a starting point with the Wicklow stuff, and eventually it'll tailor out to be more and more events because it's very obviously PvP focused at the moment and very big group focused at the moment. And as a solo person, I'm hoping as the months go by, because they're saying Wicklow's there the long haul, that there are other options for you to get the Wicklow things. Like, yeah, you could technically get a Polaris, but it might take you absolutely ages as a person on your own. And at the moment, there's no chance at all as a person on your own to get a Polaris. So that's a bit of the overall thing. But I don't know, what is that your hope too, guys, that they add more events that work with Wicklow?
Go on, Pete.
It's not necessarily the events. I like a lot of the rewards for Wicklow are exclusive to the events. And I know there's speculation in the community that there's a chance that you can find them elsewhere. But I spoke to the dev that designed the event and asked them that exact question. And he said that the Saldinium and the Caronite and all the new stuff, that like the three you require for Wicklow are exclusive to the Hathor Flow. Which, you know, I've got no problem with them being abundant in the cave. It's a reward for doing the event.
Yeah.
But them being exclusive to the cave, like it kind of makes Wicklow pointless for people like me for several months until we get a chance, until other people get bored, and we get a chance to actually have a look.
But do you also think that might mean that there are other events where it will add those items so other people can get the items from Wicklow, or do you think it's event exclusive permanently?
I think that they'll just include new rewards with new criteria when the new event comes out. I think this one's basically fixed. Okay,
I was hoping it would be different to that, but yeah, I'll take that as feedback. As for the event itself, do you want to talk us through your experiences, John? Because like you were 27, and then you got hit in the face with the laser, and well, you know, you're hideously scarred now. So can you tell me the effect that it's had on you, John, having done the event?
Well, the effect it's had on me is that even though I've got hit in the face with a laser, I still don't look as bad as you do.
Right. Okay. Sure. But no, seriously, how did you find the event with doing it with me and Void? And Void, it was just me and you really, and Void Dude's crew. We kind of shuffled in on their experience, and we did it a couple of times, didn't we?
No, I only did it the once with you.
I only did it the once. I did it a couple of times with him. Though.
Yes. Yeah, you did it a few times with him, but you fetched me in. I think there was only one battery left to go upstairs.
Yep.
And
that sounds like
I
you.
was there just to mine, which is ideal for me. I don't like PvP. Now, I like bunkers and stuff like that, but I'm not keen on PvP personally. I'll defend myself if I'm attacked, but I don't go looking for that sort of gameplay.
But you didn't have any issue with it at all, really, because I think it is one of those events where you could pull in your PvE mining friends and they'd have a good time. I think you did have a good time. And as I said to Void Dude the following day, it was like having you along as a mission specialist. You know, you were there. And some of the things that came out of that I found really interesting. Like there was, I'm not going to call them by name, but there was one guy when you asked him to do a bit of mining, he's like, I don't know how to mine. And this is like a really predominant PvP player, and it was kind of like a penny drop moment for me when I kind of realized this game is going to take all types.
Yes, I shan't name him either, it's very true. I was shocked that he'd never mined. As a PvP player, he must have been sent to prison,
Mm,
and you either go down to the lower levels, knock out the
mm,
NPCs, or you mine to get out.
mm,
So he must always go down and steal the stuff from the NPCs
yeah.
in the mines.
Well, I put that as a question to both of you then. Do you hope eventually, based on knowing it's kind of a skill-based and knowledge-based game, that mining has it's like almost like any profession is simple to learn but hard to master, a little bit like chess. That's where I hope it's going to go, because like I think anyone can mine, but like all the little nuances that someone like Jon, for example, knows, I hope that is how it will be, probably even more complicated though down the line. And I don't mean complicated, I mean as in like there's these levels of little details and nuance that separate a master from a beginner. Is that something that you guys hope for? Pete, I'll put that to you first.
I like to hope for that, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. They want it to be, generally open to as many people as possible. It's going to be generally a lot easier for a PvP player to learn mining than to encourage a miner to go PvPing.
Well, that's what I mean by it's easy to learn but hard to master, because then anyone can pick it up and you can get by. But like again, there's just things that Jon knows, and like I'll give an example. We were using the Geo and I was struggling because it wouldn't use the scroll wheel to change the laser, and Jon brought up that there was a bug with the old hand mining tool where you had to hold Alt and it fixed it. And lo and behold, when I got back in there and tried it again, he was absolutely right. It had copied the bug from the hand mining tool over to the Geo, and I scrolled the mouse wheel by holding Alt, fixed the entire problem.
I don't think that's a bug. I think that's actually intended design.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Well, again, the point still stands. He just knew little nuances that I did not at the time.
Yeah.
And he does a lot more mining, and I don't do almost any hand mining at all. So it'd been a really long, I think it was like the Rock was the last time I'd done any form of mining like that. So it's been a good couple of years for me. And I don't regularly hand mine at all.
I think it's part of the push to unify all the controls. You know how they want like precision mode on right click and things like that, and zooming in and on mouse and stuff.
Yeah, and switching
It's
modes
just to unify the controls across the different platforms.
Yeah, holding Alt seems to be the way they're going now to switch between modes. So yeah, they are definitely trying to make them similar between salvaging, mining, and things like that. I'll agree.
If I could interrupt a second, it's only when you're on low power in the Geo that you need to use Alt and mouse wheel.
Yeah, it's not in the normal mode. So again, but that's where you kind of said to me that it was something to do with the hand mining tool, which is what low power mode is essentially in the Geo. Anyway, getting back to the actual Orbital event, I think for me, the event itself, I'm kind of okay with. I do agree that it would have been nice to have more PvSP stuff, and it would have been really cool if it had a call, like when they did the Xeno where it had a call up for cargo haulers and it had a call out for combat people. It would have been nice to somehow get those two groups together. So of course you can do it in your own time, which is a lot of groups are doing. I think to that point before the show, Pete, you were talking about how Shadow Moses were the first people to get the Polaris, but just the sheer amount of organization they had to do to pull that off. I think they got it done in 3 days. Did you want to talk about that at all? Like, is that just a cart for the horse problem, or?
The thing is, they can't wait for a lot of the systems that they want to be in to make the game that we want to play. They've got to start making it somewhere. They might as well make some fun events. Like, while I've not been doing the event, I have been watching other people. Like, I've been enjoying watching other people do the event. I can't bring myself to shoot another person. I know how it feels to be set back for no reason, and I can't do that to somebody else. It just sucks.
I think the thing, though, is when you're at that laser, you're knowingly going into PvSP, though. Like, it's different if you're in the ship, but if you're on foot, it's totally fine.
Yeah, it's like Jumptown in that event, in that case. It's like, we've given you a thing worth fighting over. Here's the location. Go nuts.
Yeah.
But unlike Jumptown, it's actually worth fighting over. Everyone's bored of UEC increases. We can get that through the game easily now. These are exclusive rewards that you can actually... And because of the way the loot system works now, you can actually go around and display your rewards and show off what you've done, what you've accomplished for the first time in God knows how long.
Yeah. What about you, Jon? Do you kind of agree with Pete there, or...?
Well, no, I've got no qualms about shooting somebody if they're coming to shoot me. So it's quite simple. me or them. It's got to be them every time.
Well,
if I'm able to do that.
That happened a few times when we were doing it. Like eventually nobody was in ships, like as in all the people that were playing with Void Dude were on the ground on foot. They'd all had all their ships shot down and they were essentially holding the ground on foot, and people kept trying to break into the hole, and I had to get out of the miner multiple times and kill them. And they were not used to someone that was mining that was able to hold their own, because I play a lot of Hunt Showdown as an example. I just used flanking tactics. I was jumping off clips and running around behind them, and they were thinking I was coming from one way and I was completely beside them and just totally flanked them. And that happened a couple of times. One time I think the worst it got was I traded with someone, and they showed how good they were at getting people out in PvSP. The one that really impressed me was they tractor beamed me and healed me while I was in midair, so I landed standing up. I was like, that's amazing. Just like that. They had the timing down so well that they could do that. And that was one of Void Dude's guys, and I found that really impressive. And I was...
That sounds impressive.
Yeah, it was really cool just to see it go boink, like that. And I was very impressed. But yeah, they thought the guy was still alive, and then we went back down and checked, and he was actually dead on the ground. I'd have traded with him. But yeah, I really enjoyed the event because of essentially the mixed gameplay modes. You've got in-ship combat where and it's all the way along too. Like you got to get in with a ship, you got to get down on the ground, you've got to kill all the Ninetails, kill the worms, and you've got all the little things you got to do in there with the cards, and there's jumping puzzles and all these type of little things in there. Then you got to go up to the space station, put the batteries in, fight with the NPCs up there as well. You know, come down, do the laser. I think the thing that really annoys me the most is after all the hard work is done and the treasure chest is about to be opened, they go, oh, by the way, entire server, the treasure chest is open. Like, that's the most annoying part. So all the hard work is done, and then basically you're left, you know, like now they can come along and rob the piggy bank.
Yeah, that was one of my main complaints with it. You like if you do manage to sneak in as a solo/small group and do some of the event, once you've done the hard bits and actually got it working, there's a giant laser sky beam that tells everybody nearby exactly where you are, exactly what phase of the mission you are, and that you're now ready to be looted. It's like, it looks fun. It looks a lot of fun, but I just can't bring myself to do the work knowing somebody else is just going to come and steal it from me.
If I can organize a group with Void Dude, would you come along with us and be like a mission specialist like John was and just do the mining?
I have been offered. There's been many groups, like at least 4 groups have offered to hold my hand and guide me through this process. And I just can't bring myself to do it because I'm like, when the combat starts, and it will start, I'm going to be useless. I'm going to be stood there watching everything happen around me.
Are you like one of those?
Actually, no, you're not. Hang on, let me come in there, please, if you don't mind. No, you wouldn't be useless, because if the group's good enough, nobody's going to get into that part to come and do you. And you always have a PvPer actually down by you covering the entrance. Because this is what we did with Voidy. When he asked him to mine, he goes, no, I'm covering the entrance. So if anybody got near us on that one,
they just took him out.
He would have been dead first.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's once you're in the hole, and then you are sort of trapped in the hole, and you're like one of the faults with Star Citizen is if you're in a spaceship, you have the advantage against anybody on the ground. You just naturally do. You've got shields, you've got weapons, you can move, you've got.
Definitely argue against that, because Void Dude took out multiple people with his not rocket launcher but the railgun. He did that multiple times from the ground, and it was quite funny to hear. It's like, oh yeah, there goes another one. You know, stuff like that. He did that quite multiple times, and I remember him get really excited. John, remember he found rail? It's like, oh my god, 32 railgun ammo, and he just got really excited because he'd found more railgun because he knew he could take out more ships. And at one point they came down and parked a Razor in the hole, so we couldn't get in there, and so Void just goes in and railguns him, like totally stuffed up his ship. It was hilarious. So yeah, it was just funny little things like that. But again, once we were in there,
the one thing I didn't think was right was when the A2.
Oh yeah,
it was the A2. Come on, just dropping bombs, didn't do anything else, and was laughing about it in chat.
Yeah, because he would basically have ships loaded up with golems and stuff like that, or not golems, sorry, geos ready to go and stuff. And we went into a bunker just as we were pressing the laser, and this guy just comes along and bombs the bunker, does nothing to us because we're in a bunker, but he destroys the cutlass and all the... And if you know how long that takes to do, so you got to go back to where you came from, you got to reclaim the ship, you've got to then pull the golems out, walk them off, then you got to do that twice, then you got to pull the ship up, then you got to put it onto the ship, and then you got to come all the way back again. So it literally sets you back like 15 minutes for this guy to go, click.
Yeah.
And there was another guy when we did it another time. You weren't there, John, but he came around in an A1 and he was just randomly dropping. He dropped a bomb on my ship again, another cutlass red that I had with a GR in the back, and he killed one of the guys that were with us. And then they were starting to drop people off on the ground. But he dropped all these bombs everywhere over this facility trying to bomb us. He didn't get us, but he was trying to, and it was just he was blind firing. He had no clue where he was or anything. So the A2 I don't mind so much because it's a bit smaller, but an A2 just takes out an entire... You can't hide from it. It's like a nuclear bomb. It's just, you know, that you need to be a way that you can essentially hide from an A2 bomb, and there just isn't right now.
I think there are ways they could do that. Like I say, that one of my main problems is the turreting from the sky. Obviously, if someone's just sat there, you can railgun them and, you know, get some payback and stuff, even the playing field a bit.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because there's a general lack of cover on the ground and in between buildings.
My solution would be a little bit like Helldivers 2. When they drop some big bombs in Helldivers 2, if you're actually prone on the ground, you can take damage, but it can't kill you. So if you can see the bomb coming or you see the A2 go by, you just go, oh shit, hit the ground, and it increases the chances that you'll survive. So if you're in a ship, you're still stuffed. But if you can get out of the ship or you're on the ground, you can just go totally prone. And also that you can, like you were kind of saying, still hide behind some cover and stuff is how I would do it. But obviously not all cover is going to work. But just the A2 is just so strong right now. It needs a bit of tweakage. But yeah.
You need people with ballistas and stuff in the circuit round where you're going.
There was that one guy that got down there with the ballista or Centurion, I can't remember, that was in Voidy's group, and he got a whole bunch of kills because he was just stuffing them right up. So they actually do work quite well. Yeah.
If you prepped, an A2 bomb isn't that dangerous because it falls that slowly and can be targeted. You can just, like, most of the time when someone A2 bombs you and you're on the ball, you can destroy the thing that dropped it before it gets a chance to do any damage. Because you shoot it as it deploys, it'll destroy the A2 for you. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, but again, I don't think we're there yet. We don't have the numbers of people in these events. Like some of these events look like they're being designed for Battlefield matches of like 60 players, but we're getting 10 people turn up. You know what I mean? So it just
or you're getting 120 turn up, and then no one gets any frames.
Yeah, you're turning up to a nuclear bomb fight, and you bring in a toothpick. You know, it feels a little bit like that.
Yeah.
So it's just a balance thing at the moment. One of the other things I want to talk about is the rewards. I grinded for almost a week to get this suit of armor, and that's why John's laughing because right, and nowhere in the mission quest anywhere does it say that it's one piece. Well, I assumed it was the entire set, and it gets worse. So I spent a whole week grinding essentially and hand in, and I get this helmet, and I was like, oh, there must be some mistake. They've only given me one of these. And then I actually went looking, and it turns out not only is it just you only get one piece, but it can be duplicated, as in the next time I hand it in, I might get another helmet. So it is so infuriating. Like it shows more to what you're talking about, Pete, that this is designed for a group play, because if I get a helmet, 2 helmets, and John gets 2 chests, we can trade if we're in a group. But again, it's not designed for solo, because again, if I just get 4 helmets, I'm screwed. You know, I've got to go you see where I'm coming from this. So I actually, again, think like it makes, even if you take the whole group thing out of it, it just makes it needlessly grindy. They've essentially designed an event that takes you, because you're going to do the event like, I had to do it like 6 times, and I got more resources than probably my share from doing that in these groups, right? So the more people that are in the group, the less resources you get. But if you basically break it down, when I got enough to get it, I had more than the amount of effort to get the whole suit was way. And then when it turned out to be one piece, I was like, holy shit, this is just not worth the effort. And if I'd known, I wouldn't have done I wouldn't have handed it in, put it that way. It was just not worth the effort. I would have put the resources elsewhere. Like, for example, the guns are pretty easy to get, but the armor is like 10 times as hard to get. It's ridiculous. It requires more resources, more time, and you only get one piece. You don't get the full set. It just doesn't balance properly. And I can't even imagine what it's going to be like doing the ships. As you said, like the photo of Shadow Moses when they did it, what, 20 people plus?
20, you're talking 80, 90, maybe 100 people, bro.
The photo I saw...
I was going to ask how many people were in that org doing that event. There must have been...
At least 100. It wasn't just that one org. It was like several.
I'd have to look at the photo.
What they must have done is...
Hang on,
John.
Different
parts of the world.
Hang on, John.
There was doing it 24/7. Go on.
So there was a photo, and in the photo, I think there was only about 20 people, and they said Shadow Moses. And only, but the thing is, though,
photo. But I watched it live when they handed it. Oh, wait! I watched it live when they handed it in.
Yeah.
The hangar was full of people. There must have been like 100 people at least. Easy.
Oh, okay. Well, what I'm trying to get at though is only one person gets that Polaris. So 20, like entire org's got to come together, and you know that means the org leader's going to get it or whatever. But it's just
no, that's not happened. They arranged it beforehand. Basically, 30k gave it to Shadow Moses, and Shadow Moses gave it to the most dedicated player that didn't have a Polaris. Basically,
that's great. That's really good. I like that they did that.
Yeah, same.
But you know what I'm trying to say, though, right? It just kind of sucks that everyone puts this effort in, and it's not an. Like, it would be great if there was an org thing in where it could be an org vehicle and they could all use it whenever they wanted or whatever. You know what I mean? That's obviously a feature down the road. So you can see that hopefully this shows some more features that the game needs. I think this is a good first step, but obviously there's just some. I think no matter what event you picked, that there would have been holes, right? So I'm hoping the next event that comes along, it's not. It's kind of like you said. This feels like they took contested zones and then just went the next step. And if they just keep doing only versus P stuff, it's going to make a lot of us feel excluded. And I think the positive though is that it lent more towards mining as well, so it brought in a left of field element.
The thing is, by removing all the cover, they've made it so you need a group to do it, and the bigger the group, the more successful you are. So it's kind of the first big org raid thing that we've had in Star Citizen. If you ignore Jump Town, because no one gives a fuck about UEC, this is the first. Like, they just didn't tell us it was an org event. They gave us the impression through the advertising that, oh, you could do this, you could do this. Everybody, go and give it a go. Just go and have a look. See what's the worst that can happen. Well, the worst that can happen is you just get all your shit robbed by the bigger boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the other thing is it was obviously built for the Geo. There are a lot of hand minables, but there are big rocks in there. You can get a rock in there, but you ain't getting the rock out. Right. So this event was clearly built for the Geo. So I do have a little bit of a what do you call it? It's a little bit manipulative. I don't know how else to say that.
Can you not just max lift tractor beam the rock out?
You could technically, I guess you could, yeah. But it's really hard to get it out and get it in. I'm going to be honest. It is a very small. It's a very small hole. And what most people do is if they. Not Russ. Pete, settle down. They take the pod off the rock and just take the pod back out. So yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I just think
swap it for a new one or just leave it in there.
They just because you can take the pod up and essentially just take it. It ends up working like a store box essentially, and you can basically.
But that's what I'm saying. Do they, Oh, so I got you. So they take the box out, empty the box, and then return the box to the rock.
Yeah, no, they just take the rock back to the station and empty it out, and then don't worry about the rock. They just reclaim it.
Okay, cool.
There's other terrible loopholes as well. Like you can just essentially put all the rocks into your backpack on your back, exit to menu, and when you log back in, you're back at the station that you started the game on. With all the rocks,
all the rocks in your backpack. Loopholes. There's all the emote loopholes as well, where you can just bypass all of the objectives and just flex 3 through the door and open it from the backside, can't you?
Yeah. So yeah, there's some issues there for sure. But yeah, I that's where my main issue is well, not my main issue, but one of my sales should not affect an event. I understand why you've done that. It's cool to have an event there, but it doesn't feel obligatory, but it shows that John, how would you put this? Because you're the miner more than I am. It's it's not essential for this, but it definitely makes it a lot easier if you have a geo.
Yes, it does.
Like a Polaris.
What I would say is, if they'd have actually fetched the geo out, then left this event until you could buy the geo in game, a lot more people would be doing it.
Yeah, I think that, that probably. But again, they do want to push. Like, I know they're a company and they want to push that, but like, it's not.
They need to make money, so this is why they've done it.
Yeah, it's just not in good taste. And it leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. Other than that, it's kind of a good first step, as I said. Is there any other critiques that we could pass on to Elliot as the mission ship team guy? Well, not mission. The mission. What is it? The head. Mission team. Yeah, mission team. Head of the mission team. That he could take on as a critique. Is there anything that you would want to tell him if you could? John, I'll start with you.
We should be able to find these metals, not in great quantities, but if you've got enough patience, on either in Stanton or mainly in Pyro on some of the remote moons and stuff, or in the Lagrange points, and we could get the metals that way as well.
Yeah. So you're talking not just on foot. You're talking also in regular mining.
Yes. Also, where do you? I know you gave me the one gun so I could get another one. Where do you get that gun from in the first place without buying it?
It just comes out of the storerooms and stuff that are in the PvP event. There's like little loot box areas and stuff like that. There are people you kill, stuff like that. Well, one of the other things is you need Janolite, which is a rare resource that's in the game that has less than a 1% drop chance. You need 5 of it to make the Polaris. And I was going around with one of the org leaders last night, or not org leader, but org people. And he basically went between multiple servers. He had to check between 15 to 20 caves in total to find this Janolite. And when he found it, it was like Eureka. And he had to find it in a sand cave. We ended up finding it in a sand cave in Ita. But like, I was on one server, he was on another, and we're at the same cave. Nothing in my cave, but he found one in his. One rock in an entire cave after 20 caves of searching. That's how rare this shit is.
Mind you, Execute's not very good in caves. I had to show him there was other parts to the cave to what he found.
Do you want to tell everyone how I got there to rescue your sorry ass out of the cave because you got eaten?
Well, yes, I got eaten, and the only way he found the extra parts of this cave was
because you got eaten.
And find my body.
Well,
he had to come and find my body and repair me.
Yeah, because I assumed the actual way down the cave was the exit because of the way it bent around. I got misconstrued in my directions, but it was a boon for John to have shown me that. So yeah, worked out for both of us. But he was really upset that I killed all the dogs and took all the horns after I saved his ass. But yeah, now we get off topic.
But after I showed him how to get to the rest of the cave.
Yeah. So I think that's another thing that we could talk about with the event, actually, if we want to include Wicklow, is that they don't really tell you how to find some of these items. Like, it really relies on a lot of game knowledge. Like, how do I find Copians? It just says, go get me 5 Copian horns. You have to go out on the tundra, and it's easy when you know, but take what we got, us 3 know, and put yourself in a new player's shoes. They're going to have no idea. Like, I ran into people, though, that didn't even know Wicklow was there. Like, they just hadn't seen the mission in the thing.
This is why the guide system is a good idea for new people. If it, that needs a little bit of work as well, but that could be something else you talk about in the future.
Probably not a bad idea to have it in there from the get-go, though, John. You're probably on point there.
Yes.
What about you, Pete? Anything that you would, bit of feedback you'd like to give to Elliot?
I would like to. The feedback I would like to give is for the people that want to do this mission. This is a great mission. It's just not for me. Stop trying to force me to kill people. I'm not going to do it. I don't care what the reward is. You're not going to get me to do it. I don't need the bad juju, the bad karma that comes with it.
I think for me, I it's the necessary grinding. Like, I would rather know exactly what I've got to get a full set of armor than gamble with doing it multiple. Yes. I hate loot boxes with an absolute passion. I hate anything where I've got to just keep going until it's RNG. I hate that shit. It is not a fun mechanic. It is boring as shit, and it's highly stressful because, you can get say you got to get 4 items, and you get the first 3, every time I have to get that last item, I will get all those ones there 6 times more over before I get that last one. Happens to me every single time, and I hate it. Anyway,
It happened to you with the helmet.
no.
Searching for the helmet.
Yeah, you're talking about the Vandal one. Yes, it did.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a pain in the ass. I got all the others multiple times over, but I got it eventually, and I was one of the few people that year that actually did get it. So it was quite hard to get. Anyway,
like some of the most fun I've had in Star Citizen was during the Siege of Orison event, where the server worked cooperatively towards a common goal.
Co-op rather than against each other.
Yeah, I don't like the adversarial stuff is fun to watch on stream. I like watching the people do it, but I can't bring myself to do it. Like, if this was more cooperative and there were tools in game to allow us to cooperate and group up and do all the things, because a lot of the people fighting over the event are people that just can't and don't trust other people to be nearby whilst they do the event. So they shoot first, ask questions later because it's safer.
The number
why risk what you're doing and your time and all the effort over a hello and a check when you can just shoot them dead and continue?
There was one guy in Voidy's group that was constantly going, just kill him, just kill him, just kill him. And then it turned out several times that person was wanting to join us, right? So that there was definitely a pirate paranoia. I don't know what else to call that.
I don't think it's necessarily pirate paranoia. As a PvE player, why would I take the risk of you the game's been in a PvP hotspot like that when everyone's going for the same objective and the objectives can't be shared, like the rewards aren't shared. So there's no real incentive to work together if you're not already working together as part of a group.
And you've got to share
why take the risk?
And you've got to share the rewards if they do join you, so you get a smaller cut. Again, if you had fixed cuts, that would solve that issue as well. But again, the whole way the whole thing's designed is to just be needlessly grindy, and it really shits me up the wall. And it's not like previous ones they've done where it's co-op or they're fixed quests. It is just this repetitive churn, and I really don't like it. Considering Elliot did do Siege of Orison, and I think that is one of the better events. I do think you mentioned a better one. I would like it to be a lot more like that. I can think of several events. I even described one on stream about essentially flying in behind an asteroid or a meteorite that's coming towards one of the planets, and you got to have someone navigate between all the stuff to get in there, and they get you in. It's almost like Armageddon, but in the game. And so you got to mine in and plant a nuke, and after we get a certain number of nukes planted on there, maybe something goes wrong and it splits in two, and now it's gone for 2 planets. Which one do we save, or whatever? And then. Or you get in and get them both done, and you get one reward for doing one and one reward for the other. But if you get both done, you get both. It just depends how much the community turns up. And that has no PvP in it. That's really good flying. And you could have even put creatures on the surface, so it's basically just PvE, that you got to kill, like hostile aliens or something like that, or worms or whatever, and then mining it. So you can do the same event without the PvP is what I'm trying to say, and you still get the same data and stuff like that. So I think though the reason why they did this event, let's be honest, is it uses a lot of the Hathor assets that they had there sitting for Theaters of War. So I think that's where that comes from. But I could be wrong.
I had a point, but I forgot what it was. Damn it! Hold on.
Sorry, that happens to us a lot here. You'd be surprised.
Well, I was going to bring up that guy who was chatting in live about the game, and then you said, "Yeah, well, get him to join us. Tell him to stop sending messages in global."
I don't remember who you're talking about, John. That random guy, yeah. Because that was the other thing. There was people in but I found out later that laser can be literally seen almost across the entire system. But that's why he was talking about the laser, because he'd seen it go off. So we were just trying to get him to stop talking about it, stop telling people that it was coming. But again, that's all superfluous now. I think that's about it. I don't think there's much else we need to add, unless you guys want to add something to that. Is there any other feedback for CRG? We've talked about that. Yeah, go ahead.
There was something, but it's on the tip of my tongue. Hold on, give me like 2 seconds.
1.
You think about
don't count me down. That's not going to help.
No, I would say
No,
this
I was
is
just
very
thinking, like,
similar
the
to.
game's
Oh, go on.
kind of broken at the moment. If you were to get a crime stat 5, for example,
Mhm.
there's nothing that there's no, the bounty system's broken. It's not really in.
Mhm.
There's nothing you can do about it. If there is a bad actor in the area, again, there's not really much you can do about it because they can hide until you're ready to be fucked, and then you're just exposed on the ground. Like my main complaint would be lack of cover.
I don't think that was an issue though, because as I said, in the event that we had, eventually everyone on Void Dude's team lost their ship and they were all on the ground. And they just waited for them to get to the hole and then they dealt with them.
Oh, talking about lack of cover, Mav, we were going down to one of these scrapyard places, selling stuff from when we were salvaging ships and looting from them. And a fighter was there trying to kill him, where he picked up one of the pieces of scrap with his tractor beam, and he held that in front of him so he could walk around, and the plane couldn't kill him then.
Yeah, that works.
I thought that was hilarious.
I've seen people do that with Valakar worms too. You can literally pick up a table and turn it sideways and they just hit the table. Yeah. I think that was the other thing, the weakness of some of the worms. The worms are pretty, like, they have some cool animations, but they don't move. Like, I'd like to see them go back down and relocate and stuff like that. They don't do any of that.
Yes, they did.
I didn't see that at all. I didn't see them. And again, if they do that, then they'll apologize. But I never saw that, not once. They only ever seemed to spit. They didn't have any kind of like melee hit attack or anything like that. They were very limited in what they did. So I think the AI does need a bit of rework, but I know they are working on that. John, is there anything you would like to hear from people in the comments below about the event?
Whether they enjoyed it, or a bit like how Pete is, would they do it if they got enough players to protect them? If they were like me, they're miners. I do bunkers and stuff in game, but that's against AI. And that they're getting better, but up against, if I'm in a ship, I'll go in a turret if we're doing bounty hunters, but I won't fly because I'm just not that good at PvP if I'm flying. So what do they think of the whole thing as it is?
Same question for you, Pete.
If you're currently not doing it, what could CIG do to make you do it or to encourage you to do it? If you're like me and you just can't bring yourself to choose another person, no matter what the reward is, is there a reward? What's the price for your conscience? Is it in game, and can they implement it?
I think it's a similar question for me, but it would be, what other events would you like to see? For me, the joy was that they had melded mining with a P versus P event. They had at least tried to bring other people along, but I want to see some events that are less P versus P focused in the future. But I will say they are getting better, right? I can see this as a step forward. I just want to see that continual stuff. It's going to be very interesting to look back at this year as a whole, what it's done.
In some ways, it's a bit of a step backwards.
True.
You had, when they introduced Pyro, Stanton became, in theory, a bit safer.
True.
Now they've put the value and all the goodies back into Stanton again. All the people that would have been in Pyro, causing shit in Pyro, are now in Stanton.
Causing shit in
Stanton. They've made Stanton 10 times worse than it ever has been.
This is true.
But I didn't find. I haven't found that in Stanton at all. Yeah, if you stay away from those areas, it's as safe as it always has been.
I don't find Pyro that unsafe. I just find it's usually one lone idiot that's sitting at the jump point or something like that, trying to take people out. And that was the same in Stanton. I think it's just a bit of a misconception. Maybe down the road when there's more NPCs online and stuff like that, it'll change. But at the moment, I think they're pretty much the same. Right, Pete, where can people find you on the interwebs?
My name is Pete. I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/pissballpete. I don't do social media. I don't do anything else. If you see my name anywhere else, it's super not me. Ignore everything they say.
Okay.
Unless it's something nice about you.
In that case, double ignore it. I don't say nice things.
Right. Okay, with that then, he's been Jon Citizen, he's been Pissball Pete, I've been Execute. Oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that won the extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. Right, with that then, everything I said before, we'll see you next time, citizens. Say goodbye, boys.
Bye, buddy.
Goodbye, boys.
I'll take you anywhere nice, John.